This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. Armenia has received Azerbaijan's latest package of proposals for a draft normalization deal, Security Council head Armen Grigoryan told reporters today. The process is quite dynamic. Sometimes there is progress, but sometimes not. We are working, Grigoryan said, without adding when the proposals were received or providing any additional details. Continuing, Grigoryan also said Baku has not yet responded to Yerevan's proposal earlier this month to create a joint investigation mechanism for allegations of ceasefire violations. Armenia announced earlier this month that it is ready to sign a peace deal with Azerbaijan. In related news, Armenia's top diplomat had a telephone conversation with his Turkish counterpart yesterday to discuss normalizing relations and implementing previously reached agreements, according to official readouts. That is likely a reference to a much-heralded deal 2 years ago to partially reopen the long-closed land border for citizens of third countries at the earliest date possible. More than 2 years on, the border remains closed. In the past month, Armenian officials have repeatedly called on Turkey to move forward with the agreement, and just last week, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan held a rare phone call with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to that end. Earlier this year, the Armenian government built a customs post on the border at a cost of nearly $2 million. Armen Grigoryan, the Security Council chief, also had strong words for Russia today, placing direct blame on the Kremlin for last year's loss of Nagorno-Karabakh. Armenia had a war because of dependence on one center in the field of security. As a result, we had a war. Russia came, took Karabakh from Armenians' hands, and returned it to Azerbaijan. This happened when we were completely dependent on Russia. This is the reality. Russia took Karabakh. I insist. Without Russia's permission, that war would not have happened, Grigoryan said. In related news, European Union spokesperson Peter Stano has stressed it is Armenia's sovereign right to choose its security and defense partners. Stano said this yesterday in response to a question from the Armen Press news agency about Azerbaijan's latest accusations that French weapon sales to Armenia may start a new war. Hikmet Hajiev, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev's foreign policy advisor, said last week that France's latest weapons deal with Armenia is politically irresponsible and a path to a new war. Meanwhile, Azerbaijani state and state-aligned media have in recent days published articles describing the inevitability of a third Karabakh war because of the sales. Stano continued, "The EU continues to support all efforts to achieve progress in the process of normalization of relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and encourages decisive steps to achieve a stable and lasting peace in the region." Meanwhile, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexei Overchuk indicated yesterday that the Kremlin sees the EU and the Eurasian Economic Union, a Russian-led trade bloc, as incompatible, warning that the entry of extra-regional actors into Armenia will have consequences. When talking about Armenia, it would be impossible. It would not be right to turn a blind eye to the fact that today, that country's political vector is turning more and more toward the West. It is also necessary to understand that the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union are incompatible things, Overchuk was quoted as saying by Russia's state-run TASS news agency. Nonetheless, Overchuk insisted that Russia remains interested in ensuring stability in Armenia, along with good trade and fraternal relations. Did you know that the border village of Sarıgül in Armenia's northeastern Davos region exports saffron? The dark red spice is one of the most prized in the world and is harvested there by a group of 20 women. Our Armenian language dispatch on how saffron is produced and the opportunities it has brought to the village is now available with English subtitles, which you can enable at the link in the video description below. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 21. That's because this year marks the 21st annual Golden Apricot Yerevan International Film Festival, which is set to begin on July 7th. Yesterday, the American actor Kevin Spacey was announced as this year's headlining guest of honor. That was quickly met with a great deal of controversy on social media, as Spacey has been accused of numerous sexual assaults. Spacey was acquitted of charges against him in recent months. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.